That small ball in my hand is a complete meal. Pork, rice, vegetables, everything combined into one portion. Drop it in a bowl of boiling water. 60 seconds later, you have hot soup. Real food. Nothing powdered, nothing processed. These are 1920s style survival soup balls. They are designed for long-term emergency use, and they are the most practical emergency meal I have ever made from scratch. Here's the problem with most emergency food. Tinned goods expire. Freeze-dried meals cost a fortune. Instant noodles are not a real meal, and powder packets are not real food. What people during the Depression understood was something simpler. Cook real food. Combine everything into a single portion. Preserve it the best way available. They did not have commercial freezers. We do. This recipe takes that same logic, real ingredients, single portion prep, long storage, and uses the one tool they did not have. The result is a frozen soup ball that goes from freezer to hot soup in 60 seconds flat. Better than any packet on the market, and you made it yourself. Here is everything needed for 5 portions. 250 grams of pork loin, 1 zucchini, 1 carrot, 150 grams of white mushrooms, 2 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of fresh dill, 1 egg, 200 grams of cooked white rice, salt to taste, butter or oil for frying. That is a filling, practical meal in one list. Protein from the pork, carbohydrates from the rice, fat from the pork and butter, vegetables for the rest. Before anything else, cook the rice if it is not already done. Use white rice and cook it until just tender, not soft. It is going to be combined with everything else, and if it is overcooked now, it will turn mushy in the final ball. Slightly undercooked rice is better than soft rice here. It finishes absorbing liquid when the soup ball hits boiling water. Step 1. Prepare and dry the vegetables. This is the step most people would skip. Do not. Finely dice the zucchini, mushrooms, and carrot. Press the garlic. Chop the dill. Mix all the vegetables together in one bowl. Then spread them in a thin, even layer on a baking tray. Place the tray in the oven at 110 degrees Celsius or 225 degrees Fahrenheit. Prop the oven door open slightly. Leave it for 1 to 2 hours. Here is why this step exists. Raw vegetables contain a large amount of water. If that water goes into the soup ball, it dilutes the flavor and changes the texture. Worse, it makes the ball harder to freeze properly. Drying the vegetables removes that excess moisture. It concentrates the flavor. It means the ball holds together correctly, and the final soup tastes like something, not like watered-down stock. After 1 to 2 hours, the vegetables should look shrunken and slightly leathery. Not crispy, not browned, leathery. That is the right stage. Leathery is the target. Crispy means they have gone too far. Leathery means the moisture is out, but the flavor is still there. Step 2. Sear the pork. Cut the pork loin into small pieces. Heat a pan on high heat with butter or oil. Add the pork. Sear hard for 10 to 15 minutes until deeply golden all over. Do not rush this. Do not cook it on medium heat. High heat, long enough to build a proper crust. Here is why the searing matters. That golden crust is where the flavor comes from. It is not decoration. It is the Maillard reaction. The browning of the surface creates hundreds of flavor compounds that will carry through into the finished soup. Pale pork produces a pale, bland result. Golden pork produces something worth eating. Season with salt during this stage, slightly more than you normally would because the salt needs to season the entire ball, not just the surface. High heat, 10 to 15 minutes minimum. That golden crust is non-negotiable. It is the entire flavor base of this recipe. Quick question while the meat is finishing. Have you ever made any kind of batch meal prep before? Something that you cook once and eat throughout the week or month? Or is this kind of preparation new for you? Drop it in the comments. I would genuinely like to know how people approach this. Step 3. Combine everything. This is where everything comes together. Blend the cooked pork until finely minced, almost paste-like, but still workable. Add a small splash of water while blending if needed to help create a smooth, cohesive mixture. Because paste consistency pork makes the ball dense and heavy. Small pieces mean texture in the final soup. That matters. Add 1 egg to the pork mixture and mix it in. The egg is the binder. Without it, the ball will fall apart in the water rather than holding its shape during the 60-second dissolve. 1 egg, mixed through completely. Now in a large bowl, combine the dried vegetables, the pork and egg mixture, and the cooked rice. Mix everything together thoroughly until it is completely uniform. Every portion needs the same ratio of everything. Rice in every bite, pork in every bite, vegetables in every bite. Mix until it is genuinely consistent throughout. Mix thoroughly. Uneven mixing means some balls are mostly rice and some are mostly meat. Consistent mixing means every single portion is a complete meal. Step 4. Form the balls. Scoop approximately 1 heaped tablespoon of the mixture per portion. Roll each portion into a compact ball in your hands. Then wrap each ball tightly in plastic wrap. Remove as much air as possible before sealing. Here is why the air matters. Air in the wrapping causes freezer burn over time. Freezer burn degrades the texture and the flavor. Tight wrapping protects them for long-term freezer storage. Once wrapped, place all the balls on a tray and freeze for at least 2 hours before moving them to a bag or container for long-term storage. That initial freeze sets the shape. If you pack them straight into a bag before they are frozen solid, they press against each other and merge. 2 hours on a flat tray first, then into storage. Remove all air from the wrapping. Tight wrap with no air. That is the only thing standing between a perfect ball and freezer burnt waste 2 years from now. Step 5. Store. These portions can be used immediately or prepared in batches and frozen for later when you need them most. Properly wrapped, they store efficiently in the freezer and give you ready-made meals on demand. For long-term organization, label each batch with the date it was made. That is the beauty of the method. No special equipment, no expensive preservation system, just practical preparation, tight wrapping, and modern freezing technology working in your favor. Let me put what is in the freezer into perspective. 5 soup balls, 5 complete meals, protein, carbohydrate, fat, and vegetables, all in 1 portion each. Scale this up. Make 20 balls in 1 session. That is 20 meals in the freezer. Real food, not powder, not processed packets. Actual pork, rice, and vegetables that took 1 afternoon to prepare. This is what makes it genuinely better than a commercial instant meal. The ingredients are real and you know exactly what is in it. The preparation time per meal, once the batch is made, is 60 seconds. And the cost per portion is a fraction of anything comparable on a supermarket shelf. That is the logic these recipes have always run on. Cook once, store intelligently, eat well whenever you need to. Here is something I have been curious about. Do you think most households today are genuinely prepared to feed themselves if fresh food was unavailable for even a few days? Not in a dramatic sense, just practically. What is actually in your freezer right now? Leave it in the comments. When it is time to use one, take a ball straight from the freezer. Unwrap it and place it in a bowl. Pour approximately 300 milliliters of boiling water directly over it. Stir. Watch this. The ball begins dissolving immediately as the boiling water hits it. The rice softens within seconds. The pork breaks apart into the broth. The dried vegetables rehydrate. Within 60 seconds, what was a frozen ball is a bowl of hot, complete soup. Taste it. Adjust salt if needed. That is genuinely it. Real pork, real rice, real vegetables. 60 seconds from freezer to hot meal. No packet, no powder, no compromise. The idea behind this recipe is not complicated. Real food lasts longer and eats better than anything processed. Batch cooking is more efficient than cooking every day, and a freezer full of real meals is more useful than a cupboard full of packets. The logic is pure 1920s survival. The freezer is simply the modern tool they never had. We do. That is the only real difference. 5 balls takes 1 afternoon. 20 balls take the same afternoon. Make the batch, label it, stack it in the freezer. Sleep better knowing it is there. If you want to keep learning techniques like this, make sure to subscribe.